Viewers, we have a very tricky and interesting question to tackle today. The question said, if 3 raised to the power of 4x plus 9 to the power of x is equals to 2, find the value of x. This is a very interesting question, but it's a bit long, so stay tuned and let's follow the process. So the first thing we'll take is let's do few manipulations, but let me rewrite this 3 to the 4x plus 9 power x is equals to 2, right? Now, for this particular part, I will do a little manipulation, but let's first tackle here. Now, this is 3 power 4x plus, for this part, 3 power 2 is something as 9, right? This is equals to 2. The thing is, I want to make sure that I have same basis here, right? That's my manipulation right now. So since we have 9 here, 3 power 2 is 9. So I'll put it here, then raised to the power of x, right? Next, I want to do something here because recall something from the rule of indices, that if I have something like a to the power of x to the power of y, this is nothing but a power xy, right? We know of this. So I want to do a similar thing here. Like this portion now, this is 3 power 4x plus 3 raised to power 2x is equals to 2. You know how I got this, right? It's from this rule. I use this, 2 times x will give me 2x. You see clearly I have something that is looking common here, right? They look alike at the moment. So there's something I would want to do here again. For instance, now this particular portion, 3 power, if I say 3 raised to power, let's say 2 times 2x plus 3 raised to power 2x is equals to 2. The manipulation I did here is, we said, 2 times 2 is 4, x is still there, so this is still same as this, right? So now, there's something I want to do here, 3 raised to power 2x, if I enclose it and put a square, it's something here, right? See, these two, we have it here, 2x, I just made it alone, it's just, I splitted the bracket, right? Plus 3 raised to power 2x to be equals 2. We have this, right? Now, next we can consider is, we have succeeded in making this and this to be the same, right? So I can say, okay, let's just call a new letter. Let's say a to be equals 3 power 2x. I have a reason for that. It's just so we can like equate them and substitute something there, right? So now I'll be having something like a power 2, because this is a, right? Power 2 plus the whole of this becomes a to be equals 2, right? Now, this is just a quadratic equation, a squared plus a equals 2, right? Now, let me just continue solving this right here. So now, if we notice clearly, we can say a squared, based on what we have here, right? A squared, let me write, plus a equals to 2. So that means I can have something like a squared plus a minus 2 equals to 0. Now, this is a quadratic equation. Let me just quickly factorize. In case you are not familiar with factorization, we will just make a video on that maybe. Or you check any of my quadratic equation videos that I have recently. So we're having a squared. For this, I can write it to be plus 2a minus a minus 2 equals to 0. Reason is 2a minus a will give me a. So for this center, the number in the center, I have this to be factorized in this form. So I can write this to be in this form too. This is going to be a squared plus 2a minus, I can have this portion to be a plus 2. Reason is minus, let me make it a minus 1. Minus 1 times a is minus a. Minus 1 times 2 is minus 2, right? So we have something like this. Now notice I have a to be common here, right? Since a is common, I have a into a plus 2, I suppose, right? Because if I factor out a, I'll be left with a. If I factor out a here, I'll be left with 2. Minus 1 into, I'm still going to have a plus 2 to be equals to 0. But notice something here. we have a plus 2 is common, right? So we can just make it to be a plus 2. We factor it out. What I will be left with here is going to be a minus 1 to be equals to 0. This is just factorization. So in this kind of situation in maths, anytime you have this, it implies a plus 2 is equals to 0. The first bracket equals to 0, or a minus 1 is equals to 1. Now, clearly, we'll have it that for the first part here, this particular one, a equals to minus 2. That's when 2 cross to the other side, right? Or when this cross, sorry, this should be 0. Sorry, this should be 0. So that we'll have it that a minus 1 equals to 0 means a equals to 1. But recall there's something we said somewhere here. We mentioned that a is equals to 3 power 2x, and we've gotten that a is equals to 1 or a equals to minus 2. So we need to resubstitute back here. So for the whole of the process, what I solved just now, we have it that for this, a equals to minus 2 and a equals to 1. But recall, sorry, but recall that a equals to 3 power 2x based on what we said here before, right? So this means we can have, let's take the two situations, but I don't think this is valid, because if I say minus 2 equals to 3 power 2x, it's kind of invalid. And the reason is, if we say we'll take the exponent on both sides where we introduce log, you see that the log of a negative number is going to be an invalid result. So for a equals to minus 2 is going to be invalid, so we don't need this, right? We don't need to take this. So let's focus on a equals to minus 1 and see what we have. Oh, sorry, a equals to 1 and see what we have, right? So if a equals to 1, that means for this portion I'm going to have something like 1 equals to 3 power 2x, right? And if 1 equals to 3 power 2x, there's something I can do here. 3 raised to power 0 equals to 3 power 2x. And reason is because anything raised to power 0, let me just write it in this, anything raised to power 0 is always 1. You understand? So for that case, I'm going to have, and remember again, we said from the law of indices that when we have two bases raised to different powers, we can equate the powers, right? So if I have a power x equals to a power y, it implies that what? That x equals to y, we just equate the power. So same thing will happen here. I'm going to have 0 equals to what? 2x, because we are equating the bases, right? 3 and 3. So 0 equals to what? 2x. In this case, we are going to have something like, let's divide both sides by 2 to get the value of x, because that's what the question asked initially, right? So 2 cancel 2, we are left with x equals to 0 over 2. But 0 divided by 2 is 0, which implies x is nothing but 0. We can do a fast check. Recall our question is 3 power 4x plus 9 power x to be equals to 2, right? Now, if x is 0, like we said, let's see, will it be 2? Let's confirm. We will have it that 3 raised to power 4 into 0 plus 9 power 0 equals to 2. So that 4 times 0 is 0, so 3 power 0 plus 9 power 0 equals to 2. Is it equals to 2? Anything raised to power 0 is 1. And you know, clearly we are going to have something like 1 plus 1, 1, which is equals to 2. And you see clearly that gives the answer.